Today I fucked up by ruining my friend's new relationship. My good friend Amy is a widow. She's been trying to date again the last few years, but so far all of the guys have been really toxic, including an alcoholic who would use her to pay his way and crashed her brand new car while she was at work. So when she started dating John, she told me she was on edge and afraid that he was going to be like the last couple guys. I didn't realize my husband knew John. My husband works in an office that specializes in certain companies complying with the government regulations on that type of business. John works in IT, and has a contract with my husband's office and is usually the one who comes to fix issues, although there are a couple other IT guys. My husband has made small chat with John but nothing past surface level. My husband and I went out on a date night, and saw Amy and John. She waved us over and John recognized my husband. It seemed like their relationship was going to be great, and we were looking to having another friend couple. Most of our friends are single. We went on a double date and it went well. They seemed to like each other a lot. But Amy told me that he said he was divorced and that he said he wasn't ready to talk about it. She felt like this was the big red flag she was missing, the other shoe dropping. I told my husband and he said he didn't know any details. A few days later my husband calls me at work. He told me that John came in, they were chatting a bit, and he noticed John was wearing a wedding ring. I said I had to tell Amy, he agreed. She didn't take it well. She had been building up anxiety about his past and his inability to talk about it, so she assumed we all did. He must be lying and not divorced, but still married. She confronted him, and really flipped out. She gave him a verbal lashing that she definitely regrets, especially because we were wrong. A couple years ago, John was married but she didn't want children and she wanted to move far away. They decided that they weren't compatible even though they loved each other. They filed for divorce and then a few days later, she was killed by a drunk driver. The divorce wasn't finalized, so John was responsible for the estate and funeral and organ donation. He did what she would have wanted, and tried to grieve but felt guilty because they were in the process of getting divorced. So he didn't consider himself a widower. Because she had blown up instead of asking him, he said he needed space and ended up blocking her. She felt justified because he wouldn't tell her, but wearing his ring meant he wasn't over it. But now she's upset and has been very awkward towards me and my husband. We feel guilty for meddling. TLD, our best friend's new boyfriend wore a wedding ring to work and we told her, resulting in her angrily confronting him and him admitting that he was getting divorced when his wife died tragically. I think your friend totally flipping out is the main problem, though she may feel mad about the intel you passed on. Sounds like your friend ruined it perfectly well for herself, you just gave her the info. 2 FUPS. FU1 John was absolutely not ready to date. FU2 friend freaking out rather than opening up a dialogue and asking him about the ring. So? Where's your FU? I don't see it. Impulse control seems major issue with her. They guy did the right thing. The relationship ended because Amy does not know how to communicate calmly. This should also teach the two of you to not assume things and pass them on as fact. Her flipping out is on her, but I wouldn't be super comfortable accepting I'm not ready to talk about it if I started seeing someone and found out they wore a wedding ring, just not around me. I don't think you did a bad thing. You ever watch movies or TV shows where the entire plot is centered around characters who just refuses to talk to each other? Things escalate based on assumptions and misunderstandings. This is like that. There is a saying that rings true, and that is assuming makes an ass out of you and me. That is why I try to get the context of the situation and get facts. Otherwise shit like this happens. Jesus. Everyone sucks in this one. She's already paranoid. Maybe best to be careful if you have speculation. Sounds like he dodged a bullet. One of the easiest ways to sabotage a relationship is waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's not on your potential partners to prove they aren't like your exes. It kinda sounds to me like you could have done better. Why didn't your husband literally ask John what the deal was with the wedding ring if they were out on a double date last week? Why just snake that report to Amy with zero context? I would flip too. Anybody would. That's a fucking bomb you dropped on her for no reason. Care to explain again why you think you telling her something is fish is your fault? You did like anyone here would do with a good friend, but if the first thing she did was going nuclear, then it's her problem. Any sane guy would block your crazy friend. Tell her to work on her mental health before trying dating again. Sorry, but that is not your FU but hers. Instead of approaching the topic respectfully or simply asking him about, hey, my friend saw you wearing a wedding ring, what's that all about, and gauging his reaction, she simply flipped at him. Sorry to say this, but I think while your friend may have had bad luck with her past relationships, she probably is also at fault for some of them going wrong, judging by the way she handled this. When everyone you encounter is an asshole or wrong in some way, that says more about you than them. Sounds like she's playing a bit of a victim here. Why? So this is why gossip is bad. If you do not know things are factual, why would you repeat it? And if true, it's none of YA business. Your friend flipping out is the problem. You guys didn't fuck up. You were right to tell her. It is weird that it didn't come up that they were both widowers. Like, wouldn't that come up fairly soon? But if the guy still wears his ring, he isn't ready to move on yet. Your friend is also toxic. Sounds like John dodged a toxic bullet. I'm glad John made it out of this shit circle. You and your husband suck for gossiping instead of letting Amy either ask or John tell. Amy sucks for blowing up instead of asking. Your friend is a mental case and is a giant red flag. The dirty truth is that the messengers always get killed. John dodged a bullet. Hopefully you learn to mind your business, but your friend flipping out instead of having a conversation is somehow even more childish than her gossipy friends. This story is like a bunch of high schoolers pretending to be adults. No one knows how to be mature or make rational decisions. Y'all want drama and you found it. It's funny how manipulative this post is. Your friend is an incredibly toxic person. Even if he was cheating, to react like that isn't sane. OP working double time to dress up teenager-level dating behavior. You didn't ruin anything. It seems her overheating is what ruined it. It would be one thing if he wasn't wearing the ring because he was married and cheating. If he isn't married, she essentially freaked out over him wearing jewelry. That's 100 on Amy, though. I'm sorry she is still so controlled by her fears, but that's not your or your husband's fault. He was right to mention the ring thing and she could have resolved that with a simple conversation. Sorry to say, but it sounds like John dodged a bullet. I hope Amy gets back on her feet emotionally and therapy helps her heal. I'm glad you helped John on dogging your crazy friend. He made a great decision to ghost her. I wish all the best for John. You told her he had a wedding ring. She could have asked him quietly and rationally why, but she went ballistic and that's him away. It's not your fault. Yes, the fatal reaction before getting the facts. You made the right call by telling her. If he really was married, she needed to know sooner than later. If you're going to wear a wedding ring, most people will assume it's because you're married and not for sentimental reasons. The fuck up wasn't yours. This was just a bad reading of the facts that 99.9% of the time would be correct. She chose to react at the information that you have given. You didn't have control over that. Not your fault, in my opinion. Not your fault. You passed on information anyone would want to know, and should know. Your friend is the one who messed up by flipping out. And now she's blaming you? Not cool of her. She needs to accept responsibility for how this went down. FWIW, neither one of them seems like they were ready to be dating again, anyway. Has anyone thought maybe he wears the ring at work to keep interested women away? Maybe it helps keep himself professional and not distracted. We guys have our rituals for what we do, and some of them are sentimental but almost always they're practical in some capacity. You all suck us and are passive-aggressive shitheads. This is less a fuck-up and more a series of unfortunate events. But your friend should not be dating people. She'd have self-destructed that relationship on her own, even without your input, sounds like. Man dodged a bullet there. Also, a quote comes to mind concerning being justified. Being right and being happy are not always the same.